So many people express that they find it difficult to come across as authentic or grounded or confident, especially when speaking to a large group of people, but sometimes even in one-on-one situations. So today I want to share an incredibly powerful but simple technique that you can use to help come across and feel more confident and grounded and authentic when speaking. My name is Trisha Veldman. I am a confidence coach and spoken word poet. You can find out more about me at powerfulandpoised.com. And I am coming to you today from my backyard. Normally, I have a different setup, but it was just too gorgeous outside to resist. I just couldn't resist. And I have to just be honest and say I just recorded this whole video straight from the heart, and I didn't realize it wasn't recording. So I'm going to try again and hopefully everything will come out the way that I want it to, or even better. And I will also give the disclaimer that I whacked my head yesterday. So if you're noticing a cut on my forehead, I was at the gym. I stood up and I hit a metal bar. It was bleeding, obviously, but I survived. No big deal. I'm fine. So anyway, I want to talk about a really impactful thing that you can do to feel and come across as more confident and more authentic on the spot, and especially with a crowd. Last night, I had the opportunity to MC a local poetry open mic. This wasn't my first time emceeing the event, but it was probably the first time that I felt as comfortable as I did last night and received the feedback and the praise, honestly, that I received last night. And so one of the biggest things that people kept telling me is that I came across as very authentic. And they were saying, you did a really good job of being authentic in front of a crowd, which is not always easy to do. And the other piece of feedback I kept getting was that I helped people feel very comfortable. In fact, at the end of the night, there were a handful of people that were not planning to share anything that got up and shared. And they said part of it was because I helped them feel comfortable and encouraged. And I'm sharing that because not all the events I've emceed have gone that way. I have not gotten that feedback. And so I've been reflecting on, well, what was it about last night that was different? And part of it, I will say, is I felt very comfortable in the physical space. I've performed at that venue a number of times, and I felt comfortable with the audience and with what I was doing. I trusted myself to do what I needed to do. At the same time, I had an event about a year ago at a different venue that I was also very comfortable with, and I was emceeing that, and I felt like it was fine. Like, people said, like, oh yeah, you did well. It was good. It was okay, but it wasn't, I didn't feel super excited about it. I didn't leave thinking, oh my gosh, I want to do that all the time. Like last night, I left on cloud nine. This morning, I've been on cloud nine all day. Like, oh my gosh, how do I get more opportunities like that? I felt so good doing it. And I didn't feel that at the last one. So at the last one, I was very comfortable with the audience. I was comfortable with the environment, but something was different. And that is the something that I want to talk about today and share with you all a very simple way to feel more comfortable, feel more grounded, and come across as more authentic. Okay, I had to stop the video for just a moment to make sure we were recording. We were this time, so yay. So the thing that I noticed was so different between the two open mics, or the first one wasn't an open mic, but between the two MC events, is the sound of my speaking voice, how my voice was coming out. So what happens to me and to most people when we're put on the spot, or we feel some sort of anxiety or nervousness, or we're really just caught off guard, is our larynx, which is our voice box, rises. And when our larynx rises, our voice gets a little tighter. It gets a little more tense and a little more high-pitched. So when I think back to the open mic from last year, I had a bit more tension in my voice. It was like, hi, everybody, welcome, so good to see you. And again, I got fine feedback, but it didn't feel so great. Versus last night, I was able to keep my voice a lot more stable, a lot more calm, a lot more grounded, and I felt more grounded in my body. Now, I have had extensive training on how to use the voice. I will give the disclaimer, by the way, if you have not watched this channel before, I'm not a trained performer. So it's not that I naturally feel really comfortable behind a microphone. It's something that people tell me comes across as very natural because of what I'm about to share with you. But I have not had training in theater or performance other than like a few acting classes that I've taken as an adult. But this isn't something that I've had a lot of training in. What I have had training in is speech coaching. And I have my master's degree in speech language pathology. I'm a certified speech pathologist. And with that, we learn quite a bit about the anatomy and physiology of the speaking voice itself. So I do have a very in-depth understanding of the musculature that goes into creating the sound of voice. But I'm sharing all of that to say, if you're thinking, oh, well, you're probably just naturally good on a stage, that's why you got that feedback, it's not necessarily the case. And all of these things can be learned. I learned them as an adult, and I'm constantly growing and learning more. So my voice, I realized, was different last night versus the time before. And again, I've had extensive training in the speaking voice. So when I was thinking about, oh yeah, that was a big deal, I want to share that with people, then I was like, well, how am I supposed to condense my 10 years of teaching coupled with my 6 years of education into one short video to help people with their voice? And so I can't do that because there's a lot of nuance. Everyone's voice is different. If you really want in-depth training on understanding your voice, I highly recommend one-on-one sessions. But in this video, I do want to share something that you can do right now to start to help the sound of your voice and to feel more confident and grounded in your body. Fun fact: the muscles of our hips and pelvic floor are directly connected to the muscles and nerves involved in our speaking voices. So if your voice starts feeling tight, one thing we can do is physically relax the muscles of our hips and pelvic floor. So whatever you're doing right now, I invite you to close your eyes and relax the muscles of your hips. Relax the muscles of your pelvic floor. And just enjoy that sensation. This may feel weird. It's not something we think about that often, but just do that, because what happens is a lot of the time, most of us are unconsciously walking around with very tight pelvic floor and very tight hips, and that can affect the speaking voice directly. And then we get put on the spot and we clench everything up, and then our voice shoots up and sounds different and often sounds very tense and not necessarily grounding or inviting, and not necessarily sounding authentic, because it's not us. It's like us behind a filter of, hey, please don't judge me type of thing. So here's a little experiment you can try, is say just in your regular default voice. And now, well, I'll give you a chance. Say Good. Now close your eyes and relax your pelvic floor and say But you're not thinking about your voice. So don't think about changing your voice. Just think about tensing the muscles of your hips and pelvic floor. I didn't change my voice at all. I literally just loosened the muscles of my pelvic floor, and that shift happened. So this is super, super cool to know, because what happened last night, there was a point last night when I felt my voice creeping up. I felt myself going into this space, and I was like, nope, I don't want to do that. So I consciously relaxed the muscles of my pelvic floor. My voice dropped back down. And then I felt better. I felt more comfortable. I felt more connected to the audience. I felt more grounded in my body. Because if I go the whole time with a really clenched pelvic floor and then my voice sounds like this, I'm not really feeling comfortable and not necessarily knowing why, because this happens so unconsciously. It's not in our awareness most of the time that that's happening. But what's really cool is you don't have to know anything about the voice itself to be able to do this. I wasn't consciously saying, hey, let me relax my voice. It was, let me relax my pelvic floor. And my voice just relaxed naturally. And then I got the feedback, like I mentioned, that I help people feel comfortable and that I seemed authentic, because it feels more comfortable, it feels more relatable, it feels more naturally like ourselves when our voice is healthy, when our voice is calm, when our voice is open. And it softened everything a bit, which is how people can go on a stage and be very powerful, but soft at the same time, because it's not intense kind of powerful. We're not shouting here, but we're relaxed and grounded and enthusiastic and fun at the same time. So that is something I encourage you to experiment with. Try this out even in conversation. If you're talking to someone, you notice you're starting to get a little tense, think about relaxing the muscles of your pelvic floor. See what it does to your voice. See how it affects your connection with whoever it is with whom you are speaking. You can voice record yourself practicing this as well. So I hope that was helpful. I feel like in the last video I shared so much more, but I am just depleted in energy because I didn't give myself a break after that. But anyway, so if you have questions about this, feel free to reach out to me at hello@powerfulandpoised.com. I do offer one-on-one consultations, and I offer complimentary consultations and one-on-one training with the voice itself, because I'm going to be honest, I don't think you can really dive deep into the nitty-gritty of your personal speaking voice without one-on-one attention. But I was hoping that even with just this video, you can have a starting point to getting to know your voice a bit better. And if you think this is interesting, please let me know. I've never shared this kind of information publicly before. I've shared it in one-on-one sessions, but I've had immediate feedback from my clients on how it felt. So I have no idea how this is going to come across in a video. So please let me know either in the comments or send me an email how this feels on your voice, if it made sense, if you're like, what is this lady talking about, or if you find it helpful. And if you would like one-on-one guidance, as I said, I do offer complimentary phone consultations, and then we can see if we're a mutual fit for how I can help you, if I can help you with your speaking voice itself, as well as anything else related to speech, confidence, communication. But thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, of course, please subscribe, like this video, share it with your friends, and have a wonderful rest of your day.